Welcome back to the broadcast. Glad you're still with us. Now let's revisit our earlier story, and that is on Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. And the High Court has declined to stop the planned impeachment of Governor Mike Sonko, who is facing graft charges of over 355 million shillings theft at City Hall until a formal petition is filed. Now, Justice Weldon Korir threw out a request by George Bush and Lawrence Oyugi to stop the intended impeachment by Nairobi MCAs following the anti-corruption court's decision to bar Sonko, that is Nairobi governor, from accessing his office. The judge directed the duo, who are officials of the Concerned Citizens Alliance, to file a formal application over the planned impeachment of embattled Governor Sonko. The judge directed the duo, who are officials of the Concerned Citizens Alliance party, to file a formal application over the planned impeachment of the Nairobi governor. Now let's head over to Kisii, and as 4 months prepare to join their dream schools to begin their first term, a family in Migori County is in dilemma over the fate of their son, who scored 423 marks in last year's Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. Master Brighton Otieno hopes of joining Mangu High School remains bleak as the family grapples with the agony of raising money to offset his school fees.
Master Brighton Otieno, a former pupil at Migori Primary School, was among top 10 best in Migori County. The 13-year-old, who dreams of pursuing a course in chemical engineering, said he felt doomed after missing out on various scholarship programs despite applying. Picking his admission letter from Mangu High School, Otieno fears that he may not achieve his dreams.
I did my KCP in this school last year and I scored 423 marks. I was called to Mangu High School in Thika, but due to lack of school fees, I'm yet to join Form 1. I have tried in all the scholarships that have been provided, including the KCB and the Wings to Fly, but unfortunately enough, I did not succeed. So I'm just asking for help. Whoever can help me to join Form 1 and to complete my secondary school education.
Otieno failed to secure 3 scholarships from Equity's Wings to Fly, Migori Governor's Scholarship and KCB M-Pesa Foundation. Her mother, Irene Kasande, said the family relied on casual labors to raise the family, and paying the school fees for their firstborn son was proven difficult.
Pesa sina na mtoto ameitwa Mango School na anahitaji 75,000 na hiyo pesa siweza afford sababu mimi ni mfanya biashara kidogo kidogo, mama kuuza mboga, na baba yake pia ni mfanya kazi za jua kali.
Migori Primary School head teacher Moses Maranda described Brighton as a bright and hardworking pupil who deserved all forms of assistance in his academic pursuit. He is appealing to any well-wisher to help the bright needy boy to join Mangu High School in the next few days.
Now, the boy was admitted at Mangu Boys High School in Nairobi, but right now the boy cannot go to Mangu to his dream school because the parents cannot afford to raise the money to take him to Mangu Secondary School. The parents are poor and they cannot afford the fee of Mangu High School.
Elsewhere, Migori County Women Representative Pamela Odhiambo has called upon leaders to ensure that the youth get education and to guide them to be responsible adults in the society.
So we have had a nice day with these elders. I have learned a lot from them and I'm ready to work with them, and I have opened myself up for them. I want them to teach me and train me where they see me going wrong as a leader. I would welcome their rebuke openly and with a whole heart.
Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
And we certainly hope that Brighton's hopes of joining Mangu High School will, of course, not go in vain, of course, will come true. Now, efforts to improve health facilities in Kirinyaga County are finally paying off with improved service delivery in many parts of rural facilities in the area. The county's Deputy Governor, Peter Ndambiri, says the county is implementing a health insurance scheme known as KiriCare, which will make it easy for the public to access health services.
That's what we just.
Ndambiri said the construction of a 5-story building at the Kerugoya County Hospital will expand the bed capacity from the current 250 to more than 500 beds. He said the successful installation of dialysis machines at the county hospital has significantly reduced the need for patients to travel to Kenyatta National Hospital, where such services were previously exclusively available in the past. The facility, according to the Deputy Governor, has been a relief to many families who previously had to travel with their sick kin to Nairobi with difficult challenges. Many patients have either died while on the way to Nairobi or their conditions gotten worse due to the lengthy journey for scanning facilities. The facility will not only benefit the residents of Kirinyaga County, but even those within the neighboring ones such as Embu, Murang'a, Mwingi and Tharaka Nithi. Ndambiri noted it is now taking doctors lesser time to diagnose various ailments without any guesswork, since the machine is able to detect the specific body part which has a problem. On the modern market, Ndambiri said the facilities have been installed with security lights and added traders were now able to operate on a 24-hour basis. The DG was speaking to journalists at Sagana after paying a visit to the elders at St. Mary's Home for the Elderly. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV. And across the borders now, American political analysts do not expect the U.S. tensions with Iran will turn into a full-fledged war. Iranians are mourning the death of General Qasem Soleimani, who was killed on Friday by a U.S. drone strike. Democrats in U.S. Congress want to curb the presidential war powers, which the Republican lawmakers reject.
While Americans demonstrate their opposition to another war in the Middle East, Iranians are mourning the death of their top general. The country's supreme leader has vowed revenge, and the U.S. president has warned against it, saying that Washington would respond by targeting prominent sites in Iran. Democrats in U.S. Congress are concerned about Trump's escalation with Iran and say the House of Representatives will vote on a resolution this week to limit his ability to take military action against Iran without congressional approval.
At times like this, it's essential for Congress to provide a check on the president, our constitutional role in matters of war and peace.
A top Republican in the U.S. Senate has accused the Democrats of acting in the interest of the party instead of the country.
Can we not at least wait until we know the facts? Can we not maintain a shred, just a shred, of national unity for 5 minutes? For 5 minutes before deepening the partisan trenches.
But analysts say a U.S.-Iran war is unlikely despite the angry rhetoric.
There's no appetite for war in the United States, but at the same time, the United States became convinced that if they did nothing in response to the constant attacks on U.S. diplomats and U.S. contractors, that they would only continue. So there really doesn't seem to be much sense that there is going to be an imminent military conflict.
Persian Gulf nations are eager to prevent a war in their vicinity, says analyst Barbara Leaf.
The UAE and Saudi Arabia have been very muted in what they've said, but the theme of their comments is essentially time for de-escalation, time for a political approach to resolving these issues.
Meanwhile, Iraqi officials seem reluctant to act on their parliament's decision to expel U.S. troops from Iraq after Trump threatened to impose sanctions on Iraq.
Prime Minister Abdel Mehdi is holding off on his, the signing of this legislation. The Kurds did not participate. A lot of the moderate Shia parties did not, and the Sunni parties did not. Some were forced to be there by this Shia militia political conglomerate called the Bana'a Party. They voted in parliament. They were the only ones there.
Mahdi resigned at the end of November following massive anti-government demonstrations in Iraq and will step down when the parliament approves his replacement. Zlarica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
All right, taking a very short breather, but do not go too far. We'll be minding your business in just a while. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, a new report by Stanbic Bank shows that new jobs added by Kenyan companies have dropped to a 7-month low in December. The report, which tracks monthly business activity as well as employment, shows that most companies maintained their cost-cutting strategies last month, hurting jobs.
The report further shows that the reduced new jobs come in an environment where firms are laying off staff and keeping wages stagnant due to the slow growth of the economy. Now, this could be affirmed by data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, which stated that the Kenyan economy grew by 5.1% year-on-year in the third quarter of 2019, compared to 6.4% in the same period in 2018. The KNBS says agriculture, forestry and fishing, manufacturing, construction, electricity and water sectors had all recorded slower growth during the period. The national government now finds itself in the center of this job dip as business owners are accusing Treasury of delaying payments to suppliers, totaling to more than 150 billion Kenya shillings, forcing small-scale traders to shed jobs, cut back production, as some face the threat of property auction from banks. Complicating the matter further is the poor weather patterns, which adversely affected farming activity, and this in turn affected other auxiliary sectors, especially agro-processing. The agriculture sector, at 3 trillion Kenya shillings, accounts for 34% of the country's 8.9 trillion shilling gross domestic product and employs the bulk of Kenyans, making it critical in putting money in Kenyans' pockets.
And Cherangany Member of Parliament Joshua Kutunyi claims there is a plot by some powerful individuals to import maize from March under the pretext that there is a shortage of the grain. Now, the MP alleges that the National Cereals and Produce Board is holding on about 9 billion shillings in proceeds from the sale of maize in 2018. The Member of Parliament has thus called on the board to buy maize at 3,500 shillings per 90-kilogram bag. Currently, farmers are selling a 90-kilogram bag at 3,200 shillings. This comes as farmers express fears of maize importation after a delay by the Cereals Board to buy last season's produce from them. NCPB says that they are still waiting for a directive from the Agriculture Ministry before they can begin buying the maize. And Kenya Revenue Authority, that is KRA, risks missing its 4 billion shillings additional excise tax target on bottled water, juices and non-alcoholic drinks as manufacturers struggle to comply with the new levy requirements. Manufacturers say they are facing challenges in implementing the required provisions of the excise goods management system, which came into force on November 13th.
The Kenya Association of Manufacturers says through all manufacturers of software beverages and bottled water, an association have compiled there is high rejection of products and stamps by KRA printers. Manufacturers continue to grapple with low turnaround time for uploading store-keeping units at KRA. Kenya Revenue Authority might risk missing its 4 million annual excise tax target on bottled water, juices and non-alcoholic drinks as manufacturers struggle to comply with the new levy requirements. Manufacturers say that they are facing challenges in implementing the required provision of the excise good management system, which came in force on 13th of November. The Swiss company contracted to implement the stamp fixing system has also been blamed for delays to fix any installation issue, resulting in slowdown in production and product damages after digital stamps activation. They have further warned that the 3-month window given in November last year to clear the old stock is inadequate. Most of these products, according to CAM, have a shelf life of more than 1 year, and as a result, manufacturers produce them in bulk. CAM is, however, supportive of the new levy, which it hopes will help fight counterfeit in the market and create a level playing field for producers of these products. Manufacturers have until February 13th to clear the old stock and fully comply with the EGM system, which the taxman is counting to boost revenue collection. This is the second phase of EGMs, which comes after successful implementation of the system on alcoholic drinks and cigarettes in 2013, which helps increase excise from 700 million shillings to the current 5.6 billion shillings. As of 7th December, only 114 companies had complied in a business area that has more than 400 companies. This means that more than 256 companies are not complied as entities went into Christmas New Year holiday. Water companies accounted for more than 7.2 million stamps on 11.2 million litres of product. Failure by companies to fully comply could deny KRA the much-needed revenue to meet its target, which has been missing, as pressure continues to mount from Treasury to supplement funding of 3.02 trillion in 2019-2020 budget. The taxman has been given a target of 1.87 trillion in the current financial year, ending June 30, 2020, with up to 242.2 billion shillings expected to come from the excise tax. Njeri Njogu for Ebru TV.
And Njeri Njogu's our story, of course, concludes our first part of Ebru TV Primetime News. Don't go too far. Sports News is up next. Welcome back. Now, the national men and the women's wheelchair basketball teams have continued to intensify their preparations ahead of the upcoming Africa qualifiers for Tokyo Paralympic Games set for March 4th to 14th. Our sports reporter, Benjamin Mwaka, has visited the team's training camp at Nyayo Indo Arena and has filed the following comprehensive story.
As majority of the national teams keep their momentum running on different Olympic qualifier preparations, all is not different in Kenya's men and women's wheelchair basketball teams, with the teams currently pitching camp at the Nyayo Indoor Court.
The team has been training since we did the selection for the national team. We have been training non-residential camp, as it is called, but the team is okay. We were lacking few players from other counties, but they have all reported now.
In the upcoming Africa wheelchair basketball qualifiers for Tokyo Paralympic Games set from March 4th to 14th in South Africa, all eyes are set on the sole slot reserved for Africa continent.
We selected the top, the best. In Kenya, they're the best. And they will make it. That one is a fact. Given the fact that we have 2 months, we are going to make it. The slot is only one, and we are determined we'll have that ticket. Because we have been working so hard, whether we have it or not, we have been training.
Limited resources still remain the biggest handle in the team's perfect training. The team insists their preparation is on the right track and they will continue to fine-tune skills in all departments.
Wheelchairs. And wheelchairs are expensive. We only have 11. And we are 18 in the team, in the national team. So you can imagine 11 on the wheelchairs, the other 7 are sitting. So we interchange them. But that one is a little bit challenge for us. If you get enough wheelchairs, we'll be ready to go.
And as the rainy season continues to hit heavily many areas across the country, the basketball court has been affected adversely by the conditions due to its worn-out roof.
The issue is the arena. Because as Nairobi team, we have this arena. Now you can imagine other counties. They don't have such arenas, they don't have the wheelchairs, but we normally go there. We take our wheelchairs there, we go and train there. So by maybe in a year to come, we are going to do a league.
Benjamin Waka, Ebru TV, Sports.
All right, thanks, Benjamin Mwaka. Now, Football Kenya Federation has opened the player registration window for clubs that will take part in the 2020 FKF Women Premier League and Women Division 1 leagues. The 2020 season is scheduled to kick off on February 22nd, 2020, with the Division 1 league slated to kick off on March 7th. The first registration period for both leagues commenced on January 1st, 2020, and will close on February 14th for the Kenya Women Premier League and February 28th for the FKF Women Division 1 League. And elsewhere, the CAF Awards for 2019 are set to take place tonight in Hurghada, Egypt. Premier League trio Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah and Riyad Mahrez are all up for the Men's African Player of the Year award, while Nigerian Asisat Oshoala, Cameroonian Ajara Nichut and Thembi Gatlana have been nominated for the Women's African Player of the Year. Senegal manager Alusise Moin Chabani of Esperance and African champions manager Jamel Belmadi have been nominated for the African Manager of the Year.